What is up, everyone? Coming at you with another video this evening. I'm going to talk to you guys about some new updates with vvs.finance just to keep you in the loop, and then also just do a quick explanation of something that's been pretty commonly requested, and that's explaining the differences and some of the pros and cons of farming with VVS versus staking with VVS. So we're going to get right into it. So first, we're going to talk about some of the differences, pros and cons of farming and staking. So when you first start farming here, this is where you would come, earn, and farm. So it gives you all these different choices of liquidity pairs that you can create. So you can do Crow and ETH, Crow and Bitcoin, Crow UDSC, Crow and VVS. So you have all these different pairs that you can create. So this gives you the opportunity to decide which two assets that you think are going to perform the best in terms of price. So the biggest thing that you have to consider when you are doing farming and creating liquidity pairs is impermanent loss. Now, the way that you have impermanent loss is by one of the token prices dropping. So what happens is when you first create a liquidity pair, it's going to be a 50-50 mix. So with this specifically, I started with the same amount of Crow and dollar amount. So $500 worth of Crow and $500 worth of VVS is how it would start off. But if the price of Crow were to tank, your liquidity pair would have more more Crow in it because the price is going down. So whichever token price is going down, you are going to start having more of that in the liquidity pair. So if the price of Crow went down, you would start to probably see a 60-40 split between your Crow and VVS and so on. So I can show you an exact example. So we are looking at VVS at a price of about 10.51, and I believe that Crow is sitting right on the brink of 60 cents, I believe. So when I first did my first video on VVS Finance, you can see that the price of VVS was $12.99 and the price of Crow was sitting at about 70 cents around there. So here it's kind of hard to see, but it is $1,300 was the value of my liquidity pair, $1,316 to be exact. Now I have not made any changes to that. So it was 60,830 liquidity pair tokens. And I still have that same amount, but now it's $983 because the price of both assets in my liquidity pair have dropped. VVS is now at 10.51 versus it almost being at 1,300, and Crow is at right around 60 cents versus it being more so in the 70 range. So that's why the value of my liquidity pair has dropped, and that's considered impermanent loss. Now, there is a positive to this as well. Now, if the price of both tokens were to go up, then the value of my liquidity pair would also go up as well. So if this were to double and Crow were to double, the value of my liquidity pair would double as well. So there is such thing as impermanent gain, but it's more likely you're gonna have impermanent loss, especially like now with the dip. So that's what you have to really think about when it comes to farming with any liquidity pair. That could be on PancakeSwap, VVS Finance, any kind of farm that you are involved with. You always are subject to impermanent loss if you are providing liquidity as a pair to farm with. But the pros of farming usually are your return rates are going to be a lot better than single staking. Now, let's look at single staking, which is going to be mines for VVS. So here you have single staking, and like I said, this is only at 251%, which is still definitely not bad. So the only real risk with single staking is if the price of the single asset was to drop. So if for some reason VVS started dropping, the value of what you have in here staking is going to drop as well. But just like there's always a positive, if the price of that single asset goes up, then the price of what you have or the value of what you are staking is going to go up as well. So that's just something to keep in mind when you are doing those things. I tend to like to farm if it's a project I'm comfortable with. And also I chose Crow and VVS because I believe that as Crow goes up, VVS is going to go up as well. So they're going to increase together at the same time. So it made sense for me to use those two tokens to create the liquidity pair. Now, what I'm doing is I am taking my rewards from the liquidity pair farming and then putting it in this auto VVS, which is compounding it for me on a frequent basis so that I don't have to come in here and do it myself. Now, a lot of people have said, why would you farm versus staking? And I think that's more so coming from seeing this APY. Now, 1,000 APY is considering compounding that is already being done via the auto compounder. APR here is really what you need to look at. APY includes compounding, APR does not. So you always want to look at your APR. That's going to be the rate that you want to look at when you're comparing the differences. So APR here was 251% versus what I am getting 331% with the liquidity pair. So that's almost, 331. So that's about 80 more percent that I'm getting on a daily basis from this one, or getting on a yearly basis versus this one here. So that's really kind of the pros and the cons of it. If it's something that if it's two assets that you are confident in, I always encourage you to farm. But if you just want to get a big bag of VVS instead and not have to worry about Crow or ETH or any of those other ones you would be pairing VVS with, then you can do that as well. Your return rate's going to be a little bit lower, but you're not going to be exposed to impermanent loss. The only loss that you could get is if the price of VVS were to go down. So that's really kind of it in a nutshell. We're going to go straight into the airdrop now, because I know that's what a lot of people are waiting for, and that's what I'm super hype about. So let's look at this. So now we're being rewarded for being in VVS Finance. So hopefully you guys watched the first video and got yourself a bag of it and really started looking at this project, because I think it's going to be a big one. So what is Tectonic? So Tectonic is going to be on the Cronos mainnet, and it's a cross-chain algorithmic money market built on the Cronos blockchain. It allows users to lend and borrow assets with interest rates based on the supply and demand of the assets. So pretty cool. We definitely have some projects like this on other blockchains. So if you're familiar with those, this is going to be very similar, but definitely check this out. I think this is going to be big, and it shows you guys, look, if they're leaning on VVS Finance, they're literally doing an airdrop if you just hold VVS Finance. Like, that shows you how bullish that the community is as well on VVS Finance. And I think it's like that for a reason. So the ways that we're able to get Tonic is going to be liquidity mining, which is going to be once the mainnet actually goes live, and through the airdrop to VVS holders that will happen in January 2022. So you guys are probably asking, how can I get the airdrop and when is it going to be? So here's all that information for you. The snapshot will be taken at a randomly generated timestamp on or after 18th of January. So all eligible users will then be able to redeem Tonic on the 14th of February. So a nice Valentine's gift there for you. So how do you become eligible for the airdrop, you might ask? So you have to do one of the three things below. You don't have to do two. You don't have to do all of them. You only have to do one. And if you don't have 200,000 VVS yet, I don't know what you're doing. You need to go and get that now. Because what's going to happen is, as we get closer to this snapshot, there's going to be more demand. More people are going to figure out about it, and it's going to drive the price of VVS up. And who knows, the market might have recovered at that point, and we might have already, surpassed the prices that we've seen in terms of Crow and VVS. So just do it now while we're on the dip. So these are the things that you can do. Either you can hold just 200,000 VVS, so you don't even have to do anything with it. You just have to hold it. Or you can stake it in the glitter mine, 200,000 VVS as well. Or you can be in one of the farms with the Crow, the VVS Crow LP, VVS USDC LP, or the VVS USDT LP token. So we had spoke about those earlier. So if you have any one of those three liquidity pairs with these amounts, then you're going to be able to be eligible for the airdrop. So make sure that you qualify by at least doing one of these things: 200,000 VVS is not a lot currently. Just go ahead and get that. I would advise that you put it in the staking here. Just get your 200,000, if not more, and just stake it. And then just stake it all the way up until the airdrop happens. And I think you're really, really, really going to like what happens if you do that, because I think the price of VVS is definitely going to be up at that point, and then you get a free airdrop for doing it. So it's a no-brainer. But like with anything in crypto, make sure that you do your own research. You do your due diligence, check everything out, ask your friend, get advice from whoever about what you want to do. But at the end of the day, you have to make your own decision. I just show you guys what I'm doing, but in no way is this financial advice, because I am not a professional. But yeah, guys, definitely check this out. I'm going to put the link for this down in the description as well, which is going to give you the ability to read through this. Gives you a lot more detail on what the project is. You can come down here and you can read the light paper. You can see the different token allocations that are going to be given out. But definitely come in here, check this out. Make sure you get the bag of VVS so that you can get the airdrop, and then we're going to be set. So make sure that you comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell button so that you get notified as soon as I release these videos. This is a perfect example of one that you want to know about as soon as you can. You don't want to be late when it comes to airdrops. You want to get it before there's a lot of demand, and make sure that you qualify for that. Make sure that you also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at scrypto101. And guys, VVS Finance is the gym. Don't miss out. Get the bag and let's get the airdrop.